Good morning, everybody. It is a very early live show for us this Saturday morning.
Early.
We are here or early. We are here to discuss The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, the first in a trilogy. And yeah, that's basically it. We're gonna start with initial thoughts, our rating, which are all non-spoilers, and then after that, we're gonna go into spoiler talk of the first book. So, who wants to start?
I can start. Or Kat can start.
You can start. I don't care.
Okay. So this is my first Jenny Han book. I think I listened to the audiobook as well while I was reading it, but I was a little confused by the way it goes back and forth in time. Because there were, I don't know if the first chapter, she's like a teenager, and then sometimes she's 11, sometimes she's 9. It was like just weird for those jumps, especially when a character is in such a completely different life experience during those ages. So there were just some times where I'm like, why is she so young? Why is she acting like this? Why is she's behaving like a little kid? And it's because she was. But I just didn't understand the rhyme or reason for those jumps. But outside of that, I liked the writing. I liked the 90s pop culture references. I liked the family dynamics and everything else that was going on. And it was a little bit heavier than I had expected it to be, but in a good way. And that's kind of what I felt about
it. For me, I actually disagreed. I actually liked the time jumping. For me, it did flow a little. In my head, it flowed. I liked, because at the beginning of each chapter, it tells you what age she's at. So immediately as soon, because I was listening and reading at the same time as well, and I automatically set my mind, okay, she's a lot younger, so we're gonna see a lot of more childish antics from her. So I actually, I wasn't crazy about the time jump. It's not something generally that I like about books when they have the time jumps in the books, but I didn't find it as disconnecting as you did. But this is my second, well, more like my fourth Jenny Han book, because I have read To All the Boys I Love before, and I have to say I don't like this series as much, mostly because the first series that I read, the To All the Boys I Love before, I felt more connected to the main character, Laura Jean. In this book, I just didn't. And I also really, really loved the love interest in To All the Boys I Love before, Peter, and then, we won't get into the second book because that's spoiling. But this book, I don't like the love interest, who is Cam. He's like no reason for him to be there. And then Conrad, I think I don't like him either. So generally, I didn't feel connected to this series as much as I did To All the Boys I Loved before. I did like Jenny Han's writing. I feel like she has a very distinct writing style. She's very engaging with her series. It's a lot of fun to read, in my opinion. And so you can see the similarities between the writing style between the two series. I just didn't generally like this story as much as I liked To All the Boys I Loved before. I still haven't rated this book on Goodreads, but I'm thinking it's around 3.5 stars.
I just had to look up my rating because I couldn't remember what I gave it. But I gave this book 4 stars. I did think it is a short read, so it was pretty fast to get through. I agree in the sense where I don't like it as much as To All the Boys. But I also think To All the Boys also has a lot of hype around it, and this one doesn't have as much hype around it. The one thing that I didn't like throughout this whole book is that they call the main character Belly, and I just really, really hate that.
I didn't like that either.
I love her. I love Jeremiah's nickname for her, Belly Button. I was like, that is so freaking cute.
Yeah, but when I hear the
nickname that's like that.
But when I hear Belly, I think like belly, like an actual stomach. So I didn't like that.
I had actually given it 4 stars as well. But unlike you guys, I felt like I liked this one more than To All the Boys. And I don't know if that's just because I read the movie. I watched the movie, so I wasn't really reading too much anything that was new. So it was kind of like, yeah. But at least in like The Summer I Turned Pretty, since I hadn't watched anything, the whole thing felt like a new experience. So I don't know if that's why I liked it more.
Mhm.
But the challenges in the book just seemed very different, and her struggles seemed different, and maybe they just resonated with me a little more. So
I remember texting you when I got to where we found out like what her real name is, how it's Isabel, and I was like, thank God it's not really Belly.
I was hoping they would explain that at some point.
Yeah, I was like, this is not a good name. I don't know. I think we're going into spoiler territory now, so. What were you going to say, Desiree?
I was going to say that I agree that I think the love interests are very different in the books.
Who's your favorite love interest, though? I can't remember if you told me or not.
Like if I was comparing To All the Boys and
no, the 3 options in this book.
Oh. I mean,
that's how I feel. I feel like none of them.
But if I had to pick one, I would pick Jeremiah.
Well, yeah, I would pick Jeremiah too. I don't know. Maybe to me, he just came across as very immature. I know he's kind of like the jokester of the group, but I don't know. I feel like he's too much of a joker, and like sometimes things needs to be serious, and he would be like the person joking, and I don't like. That's just how he came across to me. I did like the moment in the ending when they were, they were talking about their mom or his mom, and they between the main character and him, and they kind of had a serious moment. But I don't know. Jeremiah is my favorite, but can tell he's not in game just because she's so obsessed with Conrad, and I don't understand because he's so boring. I'm sorry, but he is, and he's that type of guy that annoys me because when something bad is happening, he's the type of guy to run away from it. Like like the entire book, he was just very broody and very moody, and he would hide and he would do bad things, and I don't like that type of guy. So the fact that he's kind of like leaning towards being endgame kind of upsets me because I feel like Belly, whatever her name, Belly Button, I feel like she deserves someone better than him.
I would say, the healthy option would probably be Jeremiah, but I can understand why she's like so attracted to Conrad. I mean, he's the older one. It sounded like he was the better looking one. And like she likes the mystery of him. And then he's kind of sort of in it, but then he's kind of sort of not. So that's an easy trap to fall into, I think.
I mean,
especially like since her dad's, as far as I recall, her dad's not really in the picture that much. I don't know. I can understand. I don't think it's the best option, but I can understand why she has like this thing for the older brother.
I had to check.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I've never liked the bad boy type, like the bad boy turd. I just don't like their attitude, and that's something that he did. He's like, your mother is going through something, and you clearly know what's happening, even though she's not saying it, and yet you choose to be a jerk about it. So I just don't like that attitude. So that's why I don't like him in general.
Right.
Like I would rather take Jeremiah's immatureness to his jerkiness, And although
I think that's still immaturity too, though.
Yeah, although I like Cam, I feel like he was not vital to the story. I actually feel bad for him because I feel like even though you do know Belly is attracted to him, she kind of likes him. You can tell that she's not like giving it her all in the relationship because she knows she can never love him as much as Conrad. So I kind of felt bad for him. And in the end, when he called and left a message, a voicemail. I don't know if you guys remember this. He left her a voicemail saying, "Hey, if you ever want to talk, you can." And he's like, "Or not." And she chooses not to call him back. I was like, you're just as immature as Jeremiah is. Like, grow up and just say goodbye to the guy. There's like no need to ignore people. Like, I thought that was the whole moment where I was like, where Belly to me really showed that she's just as immature as these guys are. So maybe they deserve each other.
I mean, I know it was a long time ago for me, but I feel like that was high school, right? Like, people weren't really honest in high school. They would just say one thing to your face and then talk about you behind your back. And like,
I understand that maybe she doesn't want to. She kind of wants to just avoid the whole thing and forget about it, sweep it under the rug. But I don't know. I felt like Cam, because he was such a nice guy throughout the whole book, I felt like he deserved better than how she treated him in the end. So that's just me. I understand that this is like a high school kid, 16 years old, and she's like, I don't want to really deal with this.
I feel like she's still written very young, because I feel like even though she's like 15 turning 16, it still felt like, am I reading like from like the 11-year-old perspective or something like that?
Yeah,
I agree with that. True. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, her experience of boys was her brother and his friends, pretty much, and she grew up with that. So
yeah.
And another thing,
and they probably protected her in a way too.
Speaking of friends, I don't like how she treated Taylor. Like, you could tell she's like that friend that wants attention, but I don't like how she treated Taylor when she found out that her and Steven were hooking up. Just because, like, I get it. I would be personally mad too, because I have a brother, and if my friends was hooking up, I'll be like, okay, listen, there's a line, you don't cross. Yeah. But I don't like that Taylor, she, like, there was one point that Jenny Han wrote that she seemed genuinely like sorry, and that they never came back from that. Like, they were still, like, it tells that when they went back that they were still friends, but they were never as good friends as before. And I get that sort of thing can kind of like put a damper on your friend, but like, you don't just forget your friends because of, like, this is something that can be fixable, Maybe I'm just thinking because I'm not in high school anymore, and I just, like, I'm looking back at this and it's like, you guys, listen, be friends, like, be mature about this.
It seemed like in this and in, to all the boys, the friend is kind of the same in the role that they play. Like, it's this crazy sexually open friend that doesn't really play by the rules and is almost there as a contrast to the main character. This is what it seems like. Like, the best friend is really only there to show you how good the other person is, or how different the main character is.
She was a plot device.
Yeah.
I mean, and she wasn't even there for that long in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, Belly didn't ever seem to actually want her there.
Yeah.
Because it was just like Belly got used to, having those two boys. Her brother doesn't count, obviously, but like, she just got used to that being her little crew, even when she didn't fit in because she was too young or whatever.
I mean, but Taylor was like, wasn't she only there for a week? She wasn't going to be there for the whole summer, so she literally had to put up with her slutty friend for a week, like, not being the center of attention, not being the only girl for
right. And what I'm saying, and she didn't handle that very well. Yeah. She wasn't happy about that. She was just kind of like, I can't wait till she leaves.
What did you guys, when Susanna, like, clearly she doesn't make it in the end. So how did you guys think? Like, I knew it from the very beginning. When they arrived at the beach house and Susanna wasn't there to meet them, she was still sleeping, and I'm like, your best friend is coming to see you. Like, you're excited every summer. It literally tells you she's excited and that she's sleeping. It's like something's going on. So I was not surprised at all that she was still sick, especially when they started talking about that she had cancer and she beat it. I was like, nope, not anymore.
You know, I didn't even put those things together. Like, it wasn't until way later that I was like, what's going on here? Like, I actually thought that the big reveal was going to be that the moms were together.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was kind of like waiting for that the whole time. And then so when that other thing happened, I was just like, oh, is that what
your brain went a completely different direction from mine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Desiree, you've read the second book and we haven't, but like, there's still 2 more books. Something could change. Something could get fixed.
Yeah, but they said that like the cancer had metastasized, so I don't know. Miracles do happen. So, I mean, technology in medicine is so advanced, so it's possible in the other book she's alive. But
it's like technology,
I'm not holding my breath.
Medicine, fiction books, like anything can happen.
I mean, Jenny Han could really, kill us in the next book by killing Susanna, like Susanna right in the beginning or something. I don't
know. But that whole storyline is what made the whole book just very unexpectedly heavy. Like, because at that point it's no longer about the romance. And it just seemed to be a lot more about what her sons were going through and how they were experiencing that and how they, interacted with the world as they were kind of learning that. And so it was more than just your average contemporary romance, I thought.
Yeah, I was surprised too, because I feel like in the To All the Boys I Loved Before, even though like the Laura Jean's mom, it is mentioned that she's dead. I feel like that book was a lot lighter, like, to read than this one. Like, I was surprised too that Jenny Han put something so heavy in this book, because I just wasn't expecting it. So
I know that it might just be, my age and not being able to put myself back in that mindset, but I'm finding that both Belly and Laura Jean seem to be doing things and making decisions and just saying things in a very button pushing, wanting to get a reaction way. And I'm just kind of surprised by that like they seem to
give us an example with Belly, since that's the book we're discussing.
I don't remember like exactly, but at one point she does something on purpose to make Conrad jealous and is like waiting for him to react in a certain way. And like when she doesn't get that reaction, she gets pissed off and then starts pushing more because she really wants, there was like a few things that Belly did that were just kind of mean. Like it was basically just out of spite. And it was like, why is this character like when you care about somebody, why are you trying to piss them off on purpose? Like,
I feel like Laura Jean, though, is written slightly more mature than Belly is. And there's also not in To All the Boys, there's not all the jumping around in like ages. So like with Belly, we're getting a younger, immature Belly, and then we're getting present day Belly, who still reads very young and immature, but I don't think we get that with To All the Boys. Like that, that main character mindset.
Well, it still seemed very spiteful. Like, I think you have to have, even in maturity, sure, you'll do stuff when you're younger that you may not do when you grow up. I still think you have to have a bit of a mean streak to want to behave the way Belly was behaving in certain situations.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I remember some of the I can't remember what was said necessarily, but I remember that Laura G. Belly said something mean to Conrad, and he was surprised, and he said something mean back to her, and she got upset. And then he tried to apologize to her. I was like, wait, didn't you start this whole thing? Like, you said something pretty, mean to him. You can't be upset because he fought back. And like the whole scene at the party where she was pushing Conrad so that she could go home with Cam. Don't get me wrong, like, I hated Conrad in that whole scene because he was acting like he was making her feel like a kid. And I get that because, like, I grew up in a family where my siblings are very much older than I am. Like, my sister, she's almost 10 years older than I am, and my brother's 8. So I always felt like very much a child, and like they used to make me feel like that, like really belittle me because I was so much younger. I understood from her perspective, like, I don't want someone, like, I'm in a party, I'm surrounded by people, I don't want someone to make me feel like a little child. So I hated Conrad in that whole scene just because I really understood the situation. But I feel like she was also really pushing him. Like, first off, you just met this guy. Cam may seem like a really nice person, but you really don't know who he is. And like, in a way, Conrad is right. Like, you don't go home with a stranger. Like, you have no idea what he could be a serial killer. We don't know, so like that whole scene, I feel like they were pushing each other's buttons, and I was like, can someone just please grow up in this scene?
Yeah, pretty
especially
much.
Like, you're doing this in front of other people, and other people can see like how immature you're acting, and it's just like, this is something that you guys can do it in the privacy of your own like home, don't do
conversation or whatever. I mean, and then it's just, I feel like, it sucks for Cam because he's just kind of got caught in the crossfire, and it's not that she didn't like him at all, but it was more about using him to make Conrad jealous. So, which is just so shitty. Like, I can't imagine using a whole ass other person to try to make someone jealous, like, to not care about their feelings.
I feel like in a way she did like him, and she wanted to really, really like him as much as she liked Conrad. But I feel like deep down she knew what she was doing. Like, deep down she knew she was never gonna like him as much as she liked Conrad. Especially like there were moments when I think it was like there were moments when she got jealous that Cam was hanging out with the guys. Like, there was a part where she was at the beach and he went inside the house to grab her a drink, and he never came back. And then when she went back to the house, she realized that he was playing video games with Conrad and Jeremiah. And she got upset over that.
I remember that part.
Yeah. And she got upset over that, and I was like, okay. Like, he's not your butler. He doesn't need to go grab you a drink. He got distracted. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I actually feel sorry for Cam in this book, even though he like had the personality of a twig. But I feel bad for him.
I mean, he really didn't. There's no, other than, I don't even know, what was he in, like some math thing? Where did she meet him?
Yeah, like, what are the odds of him?
That's right.
Remembering her from Latin competition, whatever.
Latin. I remember
from like 5 years before what actually happened.
I mean, if he actually thought she was cute, I would buy that. I would buy that. I've had crushes on people that I've never even talked to, but you remember them from just observing, I guess, sitting back and observing, not interacting with them. But I don't she's just a brat the majority of the book. I felt like, regardless of what age she was, she would be nasty to her mom, she was nasty to her brother, she was nasty to Taylor.
The one scene that actually made me sad, in regards to her like relationship with her mom, is that, remember when they went shopping and they saw this dress and she really wanted the dress.
The dress story definitely stayed with me.
And then I think the mom said that she was like, the dress was too mature for her or something, so they never got the dress. But then the dress showed up in her suitcase, and she thought that it was Susanna who bought it for her. But then Susanna, in the end, told her it was her mom. And I was like, and then she said the scene, she said the sentence, it never occurred to me that my mom got it. And like, in a way, initially her mom was so against the dress. But I was like, are you so disconnected from your mother that you would never guess that she would do something so nice for you? Like, you know, get the dress that you really want. So I don't know. I like Jenny Han has this thing where she really likes writing these family dynamics. In a way, I really enjoy the relationship in this book, the family relationship in this book. But I feel like I enjoy To All the Boys family dynamic a lot more because I feel like they were closer and they treated each other better than this book, you know?
I agree. I think I just like the To All the Boys series, like overall more than at least this first book.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that they treat each other better in the other series, but that doesn't resonate with me. That doesn't feel real. It feels like, I don't know, almost like made up. It doesn't feel like it feels.
What way?
Because it
like
feels.
I want to get inside your mind. In what way?
Just that, like I just had a very tumultuous upbringing in regards to the things that I experienced as a kid, and there was a lot of drama and just dysfunction. And so when you see that like happy family, obviously, in To All the Boys, the mom is missing because she passed away, but just how nice they are to each other and how much they care about, like, even the interactions with Kitty, I think feel unrealistic to me because I have younger siblings and we were just never that nice to each other. Like that caring. Sure, I love them and I spent time with them, but there was a lot more like, oh, you're so annoying, get out of here. There. And Kitty seems very present in everything. And she has these whole full ass conversations at like 9 years old. Sometimes it seems like Kitty's the smartest one in the book.
I think she is.
So I don't know. So that just kind of seems, TV-ish and made up.
I'm so
to me.
sad. I was like telling you to read this book, and you're like not enjoying it as much.
No,
as
I am enjoying it. That's funny. It's okay. But like, if it hadn't been for The Summer I Turned Pretty, I wouldn't even have picked up any other Jenny Han books at all. So I really
would have
like
picked
her.
it up. We would have made you.
I do like all the 90s references that were in The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yeah.
Like especially in reference to like music and stuff. I was like, oh hey, this is awesome. At least this is familiar to me. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the just the dynamic of all the characters in The Summer I Turned Pretty just seemed more real to me. Whereas like in To All the Boys, it seems like, okay, well, this family has gone to therapy and they know how to treat each other and they know how to communicate. And like, and The Summer
I guess
Turned
it's
Pretty
because in a way I agree with you. The Summer I Turned Pretty, like the family, they're more dysfunctional than To All the Boys I Loved Before. The To All the Boys I Loved Before, they seem very like fairy tale type of family dynamic.
Yeah.
Kind of like because they get along so well, but yeah, I still loved To All the Boys I Loved Before a lot better than this.
I feel like, and this kind of is focused more on To All the Boys. I feel like that series like overshadows like everything Jenny Han has written. Maybe not so much this series, but like when I think I looked up Jenny Han for something, and she has like so many other things that she's written. Like I think they're like middle grade, but it's like I never would have known that if I hadn't looked her up for whatever reason it was, because everything is so like To All the Boys, This Summer I've Turned Pretty.
And in a way, that's good for her because personally, I would have never have read To All the Boys I Loved Before if the movie hadn't come out. It just didn't seem interesting to me, like some girl who makes a bet with a guy, to date, whatever. I don't even remember why. So I would have never personally have picked up any Jenny Han's books if it wasn't for the fact that the movie came out. So in a way, I feel like To All the Boys I Loved Before really propelled her. I mean, before To All the Boys I Loved Before was very hyped. I mean, if you were to look at like any YouTube video, what are some of your favorite, YA contemporary books? To All the Boys I Loved Before or will be in a lot of those lists. But I feel like after the movie came out, it definitely propelled her into a much higher level. And I personally would have never even picked up The Summer I Turned Pretty if I hadn't read To All the Boys Love Before, and I hadn't loved that series so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't even know she wrote any middle grade, so this is news to me, Chloe.
I think I heard about Jenny Han before the movie came out, before we even knew the movie was coming out, and I think I just, like, there's just a lot of Twitter chatter about her, and then she was going to Y'all Fests. So the first year I went to Y'all Fest, I was like, oh, Jenny Han is going to be there, so let me try to find a book from her. And I bought The Summer I Turned Pretty from like the used bookstore because that was the only one that they had. And then I met her and I got it signed and stuff like that. So it wasn't until way later that I picked up.
Yeah, and the thing is, with terms of To All the Boys I've Loved Before really propelling her career, I remember at Y'all Fest, I think it was the first year we were at Y'all Fest, where she was there and I got all the books for To All the Boys I Loved Before signed. Someone in line. Well, it was one of those years. I remember we were standing in line.
It was last year. I remember the three of us were all there and like we had all our books.
So we were standing in line, and you know how people like in Charleston always ask, oh, what are you in line for?
What are you doing? Yeah.
And I remember we were like, oh, we're waiting for Jenny Han. And they were like, who is that? And it was like, well, she wrote this book that's on Netflix. And they were like, oh, I've heard of that book. So people who's never even heard of her, they recognize the book. I mean, the movies. So it I feel like To All the Boys I Loved Before is really going to be like what associates her, or where really makes her really popular and famous.
Yeah. I don't have anything else unless anybody else has anything.
No, I think I said everything.
Can you hear me? Is my mic on?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay. I think maybe we should probably discuss the fact that she had a crush on the older brother, and then at times still felt things for the other brother. Like she was kind of like it was literally like a
listen, this girl cannot make up her mind.
But they're brothers, like I don't know.
Like what I don't understand is how clearly she likes Conrad the most, but she still, I feel like in some way she's also attracted to Jeremiah. I mean, she wouldn't have had her first kiss with Jeremiah if that wasn't the a thing. But I in a way, like both brothers are so okay with the fact that they're both like vying for this one girl's attention, or that she's kind of like playing between the two of them. I'm like, you guys are really okay with this, and it's really weird. Like, I feel like there would be more sibling rivalry between the two of them, but I don't know if maybe that was just me. Maybe I was just like, shouldn't there be like, I don't know, more of like I said, a sibling rivalry between the two of you? And they seemed like to me, this came across as if they were okay. The fact that she's kind of like bouncing between the two of them.
I mean, Conrad has that like no fucks given attitude, so I don't think he would care anyway.
I mean, I think
he
would
cared
care.
when
he
she
just
wanted to go
stay.
home with Cam.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to his brother, he doesn't care as much. Whereas, like, I don't know this person. I don't know this stranger. Why would I let you go?
But I also feel like, Conrad has so much going on in his head in regards to, just wanting to disconnect from the things that are happening, that I think there's a part of him that feels like he cares about Belly, but he also thinks he's not the right person for her. And so like he kind of wants better for her, if that makes any sense. And so like he has these moments where he's in and he's out, and he's in and he's out. And I think that because in his head, he's just like, I do like her, but she might be better off with somebody else, kind of thing. And I think that's what Belly's attracted to, is that she knows that under that rough exterior, he's like soft, and she sees glimpses of it, and she wants to be able to help him and fix him, and that's what her addiction is to him.
Sorry, I understand where you're coming from, but I hate that whole thing. Like, like you shouldn't be the reason why somebody should be nice or stop being a jerk or stop being grumpy. Like he should be mature enough where be like, okay, like the things that I do and I say are hurting the people that I love. Like the fact that he was doing drugs and his mother, who's going through this thing, knows about it, and I'm just like, why? You know? So I mean, I get what you're saying, and it's a very like teenager thing that you want to, or in general, it's a very woman thing that you want to help the people that you love, and you want to make them be better, and you want to change them, you know. But I also feel like Conrad should be, I don't know, he should be better himself, you know. He should be like, okay, the things that I'm doing are hurting the people that I love. Maybe I should not do drugs and be holed up in my room and just be like a better person, you know.
I don't know why I just was thinking about how like the brother thing was so weird, because now the Vampire Diaries just popped into my head. So but like even in the Vampire Diaries, if you recall, there were moments where you can see that each brother was like, I love her, but she might be better off with my brother, kind of a thing. And I feel like
but that was actually done well. This book did not do that
well. I mean, there was still the final chapter where it's like, what's gonna happen next? Because now it seems like Conrad actually cares. But I mean,
you mean he got his head out of his ass? Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess I could see that.
And he drove like 4 or 5 hours to wherever she was.
Yeah.
I need to talk about something that's not related to the story, but it's still in this book. So at the end, it says turn the page for like the sneak peek of the next one. But when you turn it, it's to all the boys I loved before.
That's funny.
Yes, I'm serious, because the first line, Josh is Margot's boyfriend, but I guess you could say my whole family. Like, what? And then you get to the next sampler where it's like turn for the exclusive sneak peek of Burn for Burn, and that's actually Burn for Burn, but
that's funny.
I should see the second book and see if that's the same thing.
Well, somebody messed up there.
Yeah. In a box set, no less, somebody messed up.
I don't know. I feel like of all the characters in The Summer I Turned Pretty, the one person that I wish was more likable is Belly.
I wish you had a different name.
I wish Conrad was a little bit more
I mean, but he's like, to me, he's just there for Belly to work out her own shit. Like, eventually she'll like realize, okay, I may like him. He may be the like, for whatever reason.
I think what probably why I didn't like this book as much is because I loved To All the Boys I Loved Before, so I was kind of having that expectation to this book, and it didn't quite happen, especially because To All the Boys I Loved Before, I personally really, really, really loved the love interests. And in this book, I didn't really particularly like felt inclined to any of them. And I especially didn't like Conrad. So, and that just like, I feel, and then Belly, I just, in my personal opinion, Belly wasn't as likable of a main character. So I feel like this whole thing just kind of ruined the book for me.
So you said you gave it 3 what?
I'm still debating. It's definitely at least a 3, but I don't know if it's a 3.5. Like, the only character I really liked in this book was Susanna, like, pretty much, and that's it. Like, that I really, really, really liked. Everyone else is just like, okay.
I mean, I do want to say that despite whatever feelings I had about the characters themselves, that when I finished the book, even though I don't own the second one, I was like, I want to read the next one. Yeah. And I did almost like that night. So like, yeah, it definitely and I'm looking forward to reading the third one. I only didn't because I promised Chloe I wouldn't read it till after the live show.
That's why I waited to pick up the second one, because I was like, let me get through the live show first.
Yeah, I definitely like, even though like I only liked this book, it was okay for me. I still really want to read the next few books. I find Jenny Han's writing very engaging, and this book, even though I didn't quite really love it, I still read it pretty quickly, and I still enjoyed my reading experience with this book. So I definitely want to read the rest of the series as well.
You got
Oh,
anything?
yeah. I mean, I think that's it, because those are the only places I can draw lines. I don't know what else is like not in the book.
I'm just reflecting off of your guys' points. Like, I don't have any. My only thing was her name. Anything else, Kat?
I mean, her name, like, I guess it didn't bother me as much, because when I was younger, I used to babysit a girl. They were twin girls, and one twin was named Gabrielle Lee, and the other girl was named her name is actually Isabel Lee. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Except we called the twins were Gabby and Isa, not Belly. So,
I was like, that's better.
So I don't quite bother me that. And I really liked the nickname Belly Button. It's like freaking so cute in my mind.
See, I don't like that name because I already don't like belly buttons.
I think it's so cute. Like Jeremiah calling her Belly Button. I was like, that is so stinking cute. I can't deal.
I mean, it's really one of those names that, especially because they were so young, they got so used to hearing it. So any like feelings that other people might have about the name later on down the road, they were like, what? She's just always been Belly. Like, that's it. That's her name. That's what we call her. So I don't know.
I mean, we've heard worse character names. I feel like we have. Anyone else have any final thoughts?
I'm going to try and read the second book before the end of the year. So we'll see.
I'll probably read the third one before the end of the year.
I'm still on my mission to get to 100 books, but I think I have to amend it, because since Memento isn't on Goodreads, it's one behind, so I might have to get to 101 books just to make myself feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love the person that narrated the book, though. I mean, I guess it makes sense because she sounded really young, like the whole time, regardless of what age she was. She just always sounded super, super young. But I guess if the character felt,
generally, I don't mind narrators. Like after like getting through like the first chapter or two chapters, I'm kind of like used to it, except when they swallow. That's like my only thing. It bothers the hell out of me especially when I was reading Nevernight, that guy, like, we really need to do a better job of editing his swallows. It drove me nuts, especially because I listen in my room, or sometimes I'll have headphones in, and it swallows in my ear, and it just like drives me nuts.
Is it the same narrator who did To All the Boys? Because Kat, I remember.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I remember when Kat was listening to P.S. I Still Love You, because I think we were like going to YALLFest or something like 2 years ago, and I heard part of it, but I didn't hear all of it because I already read it. But
I don't remember. I know distinctly it's the narrator for Nevernight, because he does it in every single book. So and there was one, I think I texted Desiree. I was like, Desiree, I'm reading this book, and the narrator swallowed.
The narrator swallowed.
But generally I don't mind. Like, I get used to it pretty quickly, to the narrators. So, but you're right. Her, whoever narrated the audiobook, she's very young. Like, she had that teenage voice, like that whiny teenage voice.
I guess just since we're talking about it, No, I'm not sure.
Is this spoiler?
What are you talking
I don't
about?
know. I don't think it is, but I don't want to say it just in case it is.
What is it regarding?
It's regarding
Is it this book or the
so
next book or
it's something between was there a prom?
in this book?
Yeah.
I don't
They
think so.
mentioned that at the very end, Susanna, well, not she was talking to Susanna, and they mentioned that she had prom to go to and everything, and she talked about and then that's where the dress came up, and she was like, "Oh, I can wear the dress that you bought me," and that's when Susanna said, "That's not, I didn't buy you that dress. Your mother did."
Mhm.
But there was mention of a prom, but there was no prom.
Okay. All right. So we'll leave it at that then.
Is there
I-
a certain sorry,
There is a
certain
prom in the
time
second
needed?
book, isn't there?
Nope.
I thought this was a good like end of the year book just because of how quickly we were able to get through. Like I read it early, which I don't normally do. So it was a quick read. I like that it was a quick read. I think that's just what I like about contemporary in general.
Yeah, because I wanted to have the short book because I know we're trying to be done before like we're about to go on the retreat and we have the holidays and everything's just a big cluster at the end of the year. I wish it was summertime when we read this, but at the same time it's okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of Sarah Dessen vibes just because it was set in summer, and I was like,
Yeah.
I had to disconnect because it's a very Jenny Han writing style. So I was like, I had to like kind of disconnect in my mind that this is not Sarah Dessen book because like the summer vibes just really gave off that Sarah Dessen vibe. But yeah, I like Jenny Han just because she's actually very easy to read. So,
Yeah,
any of her books, including this one.
Yeah, I might check out some of the ones that she's co-written.
I read Burn for Burn, but it's been like 6 years since I read it, and I never finished the series.
Did you like it though?
I don't remember.
Like you remember what you rated it?
No, I don't remember. It was like I remember I read it during like Booktubeathon, like the second year of Booktubeathon, so it's been that long.
Okay. Shall we move on to final thoughts then? Desiree, do you want to start?
I mean, my final thoughts are just that even though, you know, it was a book about this young girl kind of growing up, it just felt like so much more than a romance or a crush. Like it felt like it was about life and growing up. So it was definitely a coming of age story. And I liked that even though it caught me by surprise, I do like that it just had a lot more meat and potatoes to it than just this summer romance crush thing. So I look forward to finishing the series. I thought it was a good introduction to Jenny Han.
Yeah, I generally love Jenny Han's books, even though I only read one series and then this one. To All the Boys I Loved Before is definitely one of my favorite contemporary series that I've read, and I don't read a lot of them. But so I was kind of like moving into this book expecting to love it as much as I did with the To All the Boys I Loved Before. And while I did enjoy the series, like the book, definitely didn't quite connect to it as much as I did with To All the Boys I Loved Before, especially in terms of the love interests. I feel like To All the Boys I Loved Before, to me personally, the love interests are more likable and they're love interests that I can root for. And this one had 3, and I didn't like any of them. Like particularly Conrad, I definitely don't like him. I still enjoy this. Jenny Han has this family dynamic that she really likes to write in her books, and that's something that I saw in To All the Boys I Loved Before, and that's something that I really enjoyed about this book. They definitely have like this family dynamic, and it's very nice sometimes. Sometimes they kind of come across as like very cold to each other, but generally I still like it in the fact that my favorite character is Susanna, even though she's not like she doesn't appear that much in the series. I feel like she was kind of like very much the glue of the family, and it's kind of sad that the fact that she is sick, and it's kind of putting like this heavy weight on the family. But overall, I did enjoy the stories. I will be continuing on with the rest of the series, just because I do like Jenny Han's writing style, and it's a book that's very easy to read. I ended up giving this book like 3.5 stars.
I gave it 4 stars, and I didn't like it as much as To All the Boys. Like I agree with a lot of what Kat said. I am going to continue on with the series, but and I'm curious on what happens, but I don't think I'm going to like it as much as To All the Boys, but we'll have to see when I finish the series. And yeah, that's all I have for my final thoughts. So normally we would talk about the next month book, but this time we're not going to do that because we have a lot of new exciting things that we're going to be doing in 2020. All 3 of us are going to be posting a video in. Sorry, that scared you.
Sorry.
It's okay. It just scared me. In 1 week, all 3 of us are going to be posting an announcement video regarding the changes and the new exciting things that are going to be coming in 2020. So look forward to that video from all 3 of our channels on the 21st. And we're going to be updating the Twitter. And I'm just really excited for all the things that are going to be happening starting in January, but you'll start seeing the changes in a week. And yeah, so that's all we have for the final live show of 2019. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching the playback, I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And I'm really excited for the future of our book club starting in a week. So yeah,
It's a good thing you're talking about that, because I completely forgot about the video we have to put up on our channel. I was thinking to myself, oh shit, I have to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna film it all on Monday. So, but yeah, I'm really excited for what we're gonna be doing in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we have for our final 2019 live show. And we will see you guys in the new year. So bye.
Bye.